Hello, and welcome to the Jazz Voice podcast for Cadence Jazz World. I'm creative jazz vocal artist Nora McCarthy, and today I am interviewing one of my most favorite people on earth, Mr. Jorge Sylvester. Welcome, Jorge.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, let me talk about you for a brief moment. Jorge Sylvester is an alto saxophonist, composer, arranger, conductor, band leader who has been on the cutting edge of the New York jazz scene since 1980 when he arrived here from Spain. His blend of Afro Caribbean rhythms with new music is what gives Jorge his very distinguished and special voice. And so I'm very pleased to get to talk to him a little bit about his latest release, Mayhem at Large, with his new group, Spontaneous Expressions, which is an octet of improvising musicians. And let me get that name correct again. It is Mayhem at Large, the last Baha'i sessions. Very, very important. So this release came out on, when was it? May 21st of this year.
Hmm.
And it is a double CD, um, various configurations of improvisations. You have 8 musicians, and so you're going to tell us a little bit more about it. But right off uh, the get here, I would like to ask you, what was the inspiration and the motivation, number one, behind your actually making this CD, but primarily behind the concept, which was your performance at the Baha'i Center?
Okay. Well, first of all, there's a couple of things. I wanted to do a solo alto saxophone solo recording for my father to dedicate it to him because he was very inspirational and he had a lot to do with me playing this music that they call jazz today, and
Uh,
also playing
what
the alto.
what was your dad's name?
Jorge Sylvester. My
Oh,
dad was born in Belize, and came to Panama with my grandfather, and they ended up staying there. But my father had all the jazz albums. Okay, so I had this in mind for a long time. In fact, I had told Ramsey Amin about this solo album, and he was looking forward to it, and he welcomed it, and he offered to write the liner notes at the time when I mentioned this. Now, Mike Longo, these are the 3 people I dedicate this album to. But Mike Longo came in as the guy that always gave me a gig for any of my projects so I could develop them and present it at the Baha'i Center. And that's the third factor. But when I did this performance, I was thinking initially to do solo saxophone only. But, I wrote a couple of pieces, short pieces that I called sketch number 1 and sketch number 2. And that's where the octet, came into function. And I went and I presented it like that. And then I said, let me just do duets with all of the fabulous musicians. So it developed into that solo saxophone, which I'm doing like 4 pieces, and then do each one of the 7 musician actually. So we did it at that Baha'i Center, and I had asked Gene Torres to record the band with this special microphone that he has from this company, Zelia. And we did the performance. It was great. Came out, went home, listened to it, and I'm listening and I'm saying, man, this is great. So I listened and I was like, man, this is some real good stuff. Then I found out that Mike Longo passed away. So I decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna dedicate this to him.
Right.
and to Ramsey Amin, and to my father. Ramsey Amin was going to write the liner notes for the solo album.
Now,
And my father, I wanted to make an album dedicated to him. So
Ramsey,
those are inspirations.
Ramsey was your
Mayhem.
mentor, wasn't he? Wasn't Ramsey?
Yes, Ramsey was my mentor.
Yeah. And
Yeah, Ramsey taught me a lot of stuff, and he's one of the main factors behind my concept of the Ace Collective, which started with the Ace Trio. He gave me some inputs about a lot of compositional informations, and I took that and moved on. But he was my mentor for years. I met him at Creative Music Studio, and we kept along our relationship. Even when I went back to Madrid, Spain, and we used to write each other, and then came back to New York, we hook up again. So I even, I've been to his house, did a lot of things. So Ramsey was very special. Yeah,
for those who don't know
and
who
that's
Ramsey
yeah.
was, um, who
Oh,
is
see,
Ramsey?
who was Ramsey? Right. Ramsey Amin was a great musician, violinist, composer, mathematician, played with the Cecil Taylor unit for a long, long time. You could see and look up those CDs where he's involved in that. He's also an incredible writer, right? Wrote some of our liner notes for our CD, The Small Dreamy Red, right? And also the Ace Collective. He wrote the liner notes to that, also to my Ace Trio.
Right.
Yeah,
One of the best writers
great musician,
I've
great
ever
person.
crossed
Yeah.
in my lifetime. I often reflect on some of the things that he's written, and I'm just in awe of his ability to express something in a way that I certainly never. It's educational as it is descriptive, but using words and images and references that are you don't find in ordinary critiques of things these days.
Yeah,
He
I mean,
doesn't
we
matter.
could sit down here for hours and talk about Ramsey. I mean, for hours,
Got it. You got it. No,
right?
but, all right. So this CD, to be clear, is a compilation of some solo work by you. In fact, you start both of the discs because you divided it into two sets, two performances. You took them as they were developed in the performance, and so you do some solo work, and then one by one you do improvisations with the various musicians in the group. Now, what were you thinking in order when you put them in order? Number one, how did you choose who was going to start, and what you were ultimately going to end with? And tell us a little bit
Right.
about those sketches because the sketches end both of the discs, sketch number one, sketch number two, and before you even had really a name for the CD. I mean, how did you arrive at basically the way that I would call this like an orchestration of a performance? What was your thinking and your process in terms of making that happen the way it did?
Okay. So this is the thing. I, you know, as you were there, everything was improvised in the moment, right there, without no preconceived notion.
Right,
Okay, as we did. Remember, we did one little rehearsal with those two sketches,
right,
just the head.
right,
I think it's like 3 or 4 bars, the
right,
head,
right.
and all of it is improvised. My solo performance, I did not even think about what I was going to play at home.
Mm-hmm.
At night, I went up there and I just said this. So I played, my first piece was what I called just a touch, okay? Focusing and some standards, focusing and improvising. I did I did a little presentation, so to speak, of Stella by Starlight. I call it by Starlight, and it's just a touch. It's lines by lines, reconstructing the whole piece and just coming to that. And it's basically mostly an improvising. Okay.
Mhm.
So the next piece were uh
Blue abstract.
Blue Abstract, right? That one is dedicated to Mike Lungo. Blue Abstract, that's the title came about. That title came after I heard it, right? But everything happened in the moment.
Right.
Then I said, let me bring in Nora McCarthy next. Remember, I told you guys one at a time I would call you in.
Right.
So I was thinking
We were
Nora
waiting.
McCarthy, yeah. I was thinking Nora McCarthy, we worked together. She is one and my one and only
Oh,
greatest of all
I'll take that.
vocal artist, improviser,
Yes, thank you.
lovely wife,
Mm,
my lovely partner. We've been around, we've been playing together for years now.
20,
So you
20
came
years.
first.
21.
Yeah, 20 years. You came first. We did our duo that we've been playing duo for years. So I said, let me bring Nora. I bring Nora first. Then I said, okay, let me bring in the French horn, Vincent Chansey. We've played together for years. I've never played duet with him, but that performance was, to me, was very, very, very interesting, right? So I'm thinking brass. So lower brass. So I brought in, after Vincent, I brought in Jose Davila with the tuba, and that was a real cool one. After that, I'm thinking chords. I'm thinking, so I brought up Cuba,
Oh, yes.
our great pianist. He's incredible. So I brought up Cuba Kikoshi, then harmony, Marvin Sewell,
Hmm.
guitar,
Hmm.
duet, all of it duet. Then we did the sketches. Sketch number one. Sketch number one is from there on, we took it out.
Hmm.
So that piece itself was is an intervallic rhythmic line that I thought of.
Hmm.
It just came out by practicing the horn. A couple of days before that, I was practicing. I wrote it down, and then after that, we did the second set, which I played, which is this record is dedicated to my father, and that one piece in particular. Okay, the masquerade is over. He loved to play that at home. He used to play it as a version of Lou Donaldson playing The Masquerade is Over with Ray Barretto playing congas. It's a beautiful version of that. I grew up listening to that stuff 24/7 in my house. And my father he used to sing the solos, man. He used to be, you hear Lou Donaldson playing that, and he was singing that solo behind the line. So I said, I've always wanted to play that for him. In fact, when he died in Panama, I played that in the church. I played The Masquerade is Over for my dad in Panama. So I played that, and my version is really open, and I wanted to just touch the melody and open it up. Then after I did a little thing on, well, you need it. I call it you need it because if you think of all of these pieces, they are not completely played. I didn't want it to play them the way it's played. I wanted to bring my own personality to it. So it's a combination of improvisation and referencing, which I call it referencing to the melody or referencing to the composition, referencing to the lines. So I brought that in with all of these solo pieces. And then after that, I bring my man, Walter Mike D. Ricks on the trumpet. He did a real nice stuff with those lines. We just play these straight, lyrical kind of a long lines and with high notes. And I was combining my intervals with his, and there was a lot of cross lines that came about crossing around each other and tension and release and stuff like that. It's a very short thing we did, but it's beautiful. And then after that, my man Tony Moreno, great drummer. Tony Moreno, I've played with him for years. We go way back into 19, what was it? 1982, when I first came to from Madrid, Spain to New York at CMS. I went back to New York, to Madrid, to play with Luis Vecchia, the Argentine pianist, and he was looking for a drummer. And Tony Moreno was there. I met Tony Moreno through Bob Moses, and Tony's father was born in Granada, Spain. He never been there. So from there, I took Tony. We went to Spain, and we've been playing since for years. We even did a record. We played it. We opened up for Miles Davis with a sextet I had over there with my friend Chastain, Miguel Chastain. We had a great sextet, and Tony was a drummer. So Tony, the duo with him, we played a lot of duet in the past, Tony and I. So that was very interesting. And then we did the last piece, sketch number 2. That one is very special. Sketch number 2 is like a church kind of a vibe. It has that very subtle kind of a relaxed feeling, right? But, you know, in those 2 sketches, when you hear the music, I laid out and I wait till the very end after everybody made their statement. And you guys were incredibly, it's just everybody was just doing what they were supposed to do, not getting in each other's way. Everything was so perfect. So I just relaxed and listened to everybody. Everybody was listening anyway. And I brought my piece, my solo, and we covered the whole night. It was just magical. The whole night was magical. Really happy with this sound and that group. Yeah.
Well, what I find so interesting, not only about what you're saying, but now after the fact that I not only was a part of that, but I also have had an opportunity to listen to it several times. The first time just as anyone would hear it, and then actually analyze it, because while you're in it, you're really not aware of the overall picture that you are creating. So
that's right. Correct.
But what I noticed when I went back and had an opportunity then to hear it, it was the development of it that was, when you use the word magical, that's quite appropriate, because it was based on the listening of the musicians and based on what they were playing strictly from their intuitive places, how the concepts were developing off of one another, the respect that each musician had for what it was that they were bringing, and also simultaneously what the other people were bringing at that time. So there was this like ongoing construction happening, whereas we were all building something together. It has so many components, multidisciplinary components to it, because it's visual. It's extraordinarily visual. It also tells a story, and then there's also types of characters, or as it were, images that were coming to life before your eyes as it was happening. And it's almost as if you were being led by some unknown movie director, sound specialist that was, sculpting it as we were moving, which made it so incredible when listening back to actually hear what it was that we made. That always is the best part to me of what improvisation represents, is that there's always this higher power that comes into play, that you're just so blessed to be able to be used and manipulated by this higher power and let it
Yes.
conduit good. And just the various sounds at the exact right time, like such when Marvin came in and was playing all these like twangy kind of other earthly sounds on his guitar that set such a mood. I actually felt like I could see smoke rising up off the stage. And then Marv Waldron coming in, and of course Tony Moreno was, forget about it. He was the impetus and the movement behind all of it. he would pick up on one thing or another and direct and guide, and you were all doing it because you're all leaders.
Stuck like glue upon the ladder.
Thank you. Nora McCarthy. Chuba Kipochi. Marvin Sewell. Jose Davila. Tony Moreno. Martha Amadi Rick. Vincent Chancey. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to Jorge Sylvester solo saxophone improvisation entitled It's Over from his double CD release, Mayhem at Large, The Last Baha'i Sessions. This piece is a reference to the jazz standard, The Masquerade is Over, written by Herb Magison and Ali Rubel, and dedicated to Jorge's father, George H. Sylvester. Jorge, please tell our listeners where they can purchase this CD and your others.
So far, we're putting it out right now by ourselves. And the only place you can find is on bandcamp.com. And that to go there, you're going to go into Jorge Sylvester music.bandcamp.com, right? And my website, jorgesylvesteracemusic.com. You find the website. But for the CD, the only place that has it is Bandcamp right now. So you got to go there and get it, pick it up.
That's good.
Okay.
So now we're getting
Yeah.
it out there. But anyway, hey, it was fabulous talking to you on Zoom.
Yeah,
And-
baby.
Yeah.
And Zoom and Zoom and Zoom. And this is the other thing I want to say, and I will not forget this, to thank all of the cats,
Yes.
including NORA, that perform at that music that night. As I said, it was magical. I want to thank all the great musicians, okay?
Say their name.
Marvin Swall, right? Vincent Chansey,
Yes.
Kuba Koshi, the great Jose Davila,
Yes.
the great Tony Moreno,
Yes.
and the great Waldron Madi Rex.
Did you got
Okay,
anything in there? Yeah, Tony Moreno.
they killed it,
Yeah,
right? They killed it.
So here's to them.
Here's to them.
And here's to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.